Hey, how's it going, YouTube? It's your boy Gumball, and today, I'm gonna be doing a little bit of a different kind of video. So, I was running some games against my boy Ed in testing, and I chose to just record it without any commentary, because I figured if it was worth going back to, then I would just record over this earlier. So, I'm playing Ray, and Ed is playing Shadow Rider. These are both post-rotation lists. So this very first game, if I'm not mistaken, Ed crashes. So we can go ahead and move forward about 30 seconds into the video. So Ed wins the coin flip and is going first. I start Ray, Mareep, another Ray, and a Vikavolt. So he's just going to be attaching to Alchemy and passing, whereas we are going to be quick balling Ways and Energy, and immediately going for a Crobat. Now, in previous testing, one Crobat just felt like it wasn't enough, and I think this set really showcases how good two Crobat is. Mostly because in situations where your one Crobat isn't useful and it ends up being either tossed or like Marnie to the bottom, or it gets prized. You know, things like that. So I make a little comment to Ed about how I prized really badly. But it ends up not really mattering in this set very much. So if I recall right, I benched the Ray and attached to it. Yep. So, I do end up just quick balling away the Vikavolt this turn and getting another Mareep down. And I believe I level ball for a third Mareep here. No, evidently that was next turn that I found it. So, we do get pretty much an optimal turn 1 board state. And if I recall right, Ed's turn 2 is not very strong. I think he ends off just benching a Shadow Rider and then adorning to it. Yeah. So after he bricks, we get a Flaffy out. I believe we find the other Flaffy this turn too. Yeah, we level ball for the other Flaffy. So I do go ahead and evolve into the Ray, which I don't think is correct here. But it does look like I end up drawing into the scones. So I think what I should have done is I probably should have just tried to swing with the Baby Ray. But either way, we end up not really getting punished here. So I do evolve active. I remember trying to think about what I should do and what the optimal play is. So I end up wasting a lot of time on stalling just to figure out what I should do. And I think I settle on just swinging to the Alchemy here. Or maybe I switch into the bat. No, I do switch into the Ray. That's okay. I might have also bossed the Shadow Rider this turn. That I actually don't really remember. I think this is what I was debating, is whether or not I bossed the Shadow Rider or not. And I do settle on bossing the Shadow Rider. And instead of discarding my hand, I do end up holding it mostly for the Rose. Because Rose gives me the ability to kill this Calyrex if he chooses to evolve it. But he does Marnie me out of the Rose. And I think he chooses to Marnie me over anything else because I didn't Azure Pulse. But it's honestly fine because I do draw into a really decent hand here. But because his Shadow Rider and his only Shadow Rider is damaged, he doesn't really have a choice but to you know, try to retreat it and try to swing with Alchemy. So he's just gonna Whisk me here. And he just discards the 2 energy on the bench. Now, I believe I play an Evo Incense just to shuffle the deck and try to put Rose back on top. Or anywhere that isn't the bottom, really. And I also thin a Ray Vmax in the process. And I believe I choose to not play Stormy Mountain because I like having Training Court in play just for whenever I get KO'd, I can get my fire energy back. So I do end up finding a Marnie. And Marnie is something that I wasn't very confident in playing in Ray, but I really wanted more draw support than just 4 research. So I opted to put the 2 Marnie in anyway, and it actually worked out. So this was a situation where Marnie was pretty useful. I do believe I opt to Marnie instead of bossing here. Or not. Oh, I think I remember what I did here. I was digging for a switch out. I remember what I do here. Yeah, I attach to the active and then try to retreat into the Ray. And then try to swing with it. So at this point I am down both boss. And I just completely blanked on the fact that attaching that energy to retreat wastes my retreat for the turn. This was a big misplay for me here. But we end up not getting punished because Ed also ends up misplaying later in this game. And I probably should point out that this was recorded at 3 in the morning, so neither of us were crisp. So I do just check my discard real quick to see everything that I have. He does find the Articuno, and had he found it last turn, he would have been able to KO me with the Alchemy, despite only having 1 Shadow Rider in play. So the fact that Articuno is able to just put 2 energy into play without needing any sort of setup, it just goes to show how dangerous Alchemy really can be. Because even when you don't have a field full of Shadow Riders, all it takes is 1 Shadow Rider, an Articuno, and a manual attach, and the 2 energy on Alchemy, of course, and you're already killing anything in the game. And not just Alchemy, but Shadow Rider as a whole, you can really see just how dangerous it is as a deck. Fortunately for us, Ed does brick here, and I end up not getting punished at all. So I believe my line of play this turn was to blow this Alchemy up with Ray. No. Because that's right, I was checking that line of play, but then there ends up not being enough energy and discard for it. So I think I end up just researching here. And I do find the switch. So it's really just a matter of me needing to find another switch out this turn. And assuming that I do find it, I am all set and I'm able to blow something up. So I believe I switch into Crobat here. And then I think I Rod back a Ray and a Fire Energy? Yeah. Not the Vikavolt. I don't get back Vikavolt. I get back the... That's incorrect. I don't know why I did that. I should have gotten back a Baby Ray. And I choose to get back a Lightning Energy because I am discarding 2 of them out of this hand. And I definitely remember whiffing Switch here. So I think I Level Ball to get a Mareep to just burn 1 card in deck. I actually don't recall if I missed the switch here or not, because I think I might have hit it. No, because I remember this game. I definitely whiffed the switch. So I actually fail it instead of grabbing the Mareep. That could have been another game of testing that I grabbed the Mareep and threw it away. But yeah, I remember whiffing the switch here. So I think I Dynamotor to the other Ray, the one that isn't at risk of getting KO'd. That way, if he does target the Ray with the 3 energy on it, I still do get to kill this Alchemy. However, it will be with a damaged Ray with only 200 HP left. But because he needs to discard 6 energy in order to KO with the Gmax Whisk, usually they're not able to recover after that. But as you can see, he's getting a very scary board state, and we're both really low on cards in deck despite neither of us taking a prize yet. So he does just switch and whisk the bat. And this was definitely the turning point in the game for me where I was just like, okay, I win. Because I am able to just... I think I send up a Ray here. And I'm checking for an energy in discard because if I do have 1 energy in discard, I am able to just send up bat, retreat the bat, and then find everything I need. But I do decide to just go for the Azure Pulse here and try to find a switching card just so I can get the KO on this Alchemy. And I do find the other balloon. And I am able to Training Court for the fire energy to attach to the other Ray. And I don't remember if I opt to use the second Azure Pulse or not. I think I do. I should. And I think I Quick Ball for the Vikavolt here. So my goal here is just to burn as many cards as possible. Just so I can't get, like... You know, I have all the options I need. So at this point, I have the research, and it doesn't really matter what I do. Marnie gets me everything else in deck, and even if he kills a Ray, I can top deck an Azure Pulse into the rest of my deck, so I'm always guaranteed to find the Rose, the Switch. Now, this is the pivotal turn where Ed misplays really badly. Because if I recall right, he opts to swing with a Shadow Rider instead of the Articuno here. And he definitely is supposed to swing with Articuno in this turn. Because if he Articunos onto a Flaffy, because both my bosses are in discard, I don't have a way to win the game. Because it doesn't matter what I swing with, he is always able to boss something and kill it for 3 prizes. And this is why I say we weren't very crisp, because we both talked about it after the game, and he was like, yeah, we should have said something, because I definitely should have swung with Articuno, and I was like, yeah, you should have. And I remember thinking, if he swings with Articuno, I lose, but I don't think he sees the line of play that I see. And he could also just easily forget that I only played 2 boss instead of 3. And, like, no POW pad. So, as you see, Ed does choose to go first, game 2. Yeah. We just gotta play through the motions real quick. Just so he knows that I'm not bullshitting about having the KO, even though I would have it on board anyway. And yeah, this game 1 was just not a very good game, and I choose to BM Ed here just because I can. Just to be cute. Yeah, this game shows how strong Ray can be, assuming it sets up, but keep in mind that I had an opponent that misplayed poorly. as did I. And I had prizes that were really terrible. But he also had 11 energy in discard. So I go ahead and send the second request to Ed here. And he is going to be going first again in game 2. Now, Shadow Rider is a matchup that I figured Vikavolt would be helpful in, but it ended up not really being useful. Now, of course, we gotta play the opening setup. I remember this game going really well in my favor because I swung with Baby Ray V, and having a solid 2-prize attacker is part of the reason why I played Vikavolt in this set and was testing it out. But considering that I opt to use the Baby Ray V over Vikavolt to swing, yeah, Vikavolt just wasn't a very good card. So I did end up cutting Vikavolt after this set, but as you see, I did get a very favorable opening hand. And he does open his single bat, which is unfortunate. And opening single bat is a big reason why I put 2 in. But I talked to Ed after this game, and he said that he really misses 2 bat. He just doesn't have the space for it, which I understand. Plus, once you set up your Shadow Riders, it should never be an issue anyway. Plus, that deck does play 8 draw supporters. So he is just going to go ahead and pass. I am just going to be able to get 2 Mareep on board turn 1, and energy on the Ray. And then I'm able to research here. And I am just checking my prizes. And I do believe I prized 2 switch and a bunch of energy. And I think I prized a couple supporters as well. So I opt not to burn the Evo Incense just because I don't have a board state yet, so I do actually want all of my evolutions in deck at the moment. So I do quick ball away that, and I do get a Ray. So I do have pretty much the perfect turn 1 opening board. And assuming he doesn't Marnie me, I'm going to have an almost perfect turn 2. I think he does Marnie me out of this hand, though. And I think I draw something that's just also insanely hot. Now, he is going to be... I believe he is able to get the KO with the Shadow Rider here, because he does have the double Vmax, double energy attach air balloon. Yeah, and then he Marnies me. So he is getting basically the perfect turn 2 against my board. All things considered. And yeah, like I said, I draw pretty nutty off of this. So I do opt to just send up the Mareep. And I am just going to send up a Flaffy. I am going to bump his Stadium here, because I do need to find another Mareep. And then I think I go attach to Ray Research. Yeah. And this part of the game is where I was thinking that I'm probably fucked. It's just not looking good for me. But I look at it from another point of view that, hey, I'm guaranteed to take a KO on Shadow Rider next turn, and if not, he Marnies me. So it's kind of a win-win. So I should Air Balloon the Flaffy here. And then retreat and then swing for 180. And at this point, I'm not really seeing the line of play that I see right now while commentating. That swinging for 180 is actually really good. Because he doesn't want to have to be pressured by a 2-prizer that's 2-shotting him. And he's probably thinking that he just needs to kill this Ray and then kill a Vmax for him to win. And as soon as I swung with this Ray, with this dead hand, that's when I realized, oh, hey, I'm actually in a good position. I just don't have to. I just have to not evolve. That's all I needed not to do. And that's a decision I had to make before making any plays on my next turn. Because you do see that I draw into the Evo Incense, and your first instinct might be, oh yeah, get the Ray VMAX so you can blow him up. and it's your Ray Vmax. When that is in fact not the correct play here, because he is setting up a really big board state to where he can just blow away a Ray Vmax if I don't just Gust the Alchemy and KO at once. And even if I do that, it's not out of the question for him to just set up on me. So, at this point in the game, I have not burned through any of my important supporters yet, and I do have a really good setup. So, I get the Fire Energy back immediately, and then Stormy Mountains for another Ray. Because I do plan on evolving this last Ray. I just need to find it, which ends up being a pretty big problem until the last turn of the game, where I finally do eventually find it. So, I do get the third Flaffy on board, and this is going to be huge here. Because I am going to be able to just start setting up on the benched Ray. Both the benched Rays. They are both benched. So, still gone through all these cards and have not seen a Ray Vmax. Which is honestly pretty good considering how many Evo instances I've seen. And the fact that I've already burned through 2. But this is the part of the game where it does get really scary if you don't have a Ray Vmax out yet. So I do KO the Shadow Rider. And I definitely think he should have swung with Alchemy there, instead of swinging with the Shadow Rider that was already damaged. Because now that we're both at 3 prizes, he has 2 Vmaxes on board. I don't have any. So he opts to boss the Ray with 2 energy, which I actually don't blame him for. But he does bump the Training Court, which I don't agree with necessarily. Because now it doesn't matter because I have the Energy Search anyway, but now all I need to do is find the Ray Vmax and I win if he swings. So this is another position where he should have swung with the Articuno, but chose not to. And I remember misplaying this turn. Not misplaying, but missequencing this turn. And then I don't really get punished because I do find the Ray Vmax anyway. But I remember that I was supposed to burn Energy Search and burn Rod. And I forget to do both of those things correctly. But it ends up being fine anyway, because the whole point of me Energy Searching was to bat for 1 more card. Whereas thinning the deck by 1 lets me research with higher odds of drawing into the Ray. I still think it's better to bat for 1. Because, you know, batting for 1 extra card, it could be an out to Ray. Whereas I could just Energy Search for an energy, and then an energy is never an out to a Ray. It is 100% of the time never an out to Ray, whereas the 1 card has like a, what, 1 in 5, roughly? So like a 30% chance? Not even, though. Like a 20% chance. Either way, we had a lot of outs, but we do just research, and we find all 3 Rays at once. And because he did opt to attack with the Shadow Rider VMAX last turn, I do end up just setting up on him. And I remember him saying that he just didn't realize that I had the outs to that many energy at once. So, yeah, overall, not a very good set. But I think it's a set that can definitely show off Ray's weaknesses as well as its strong points. So, it's a very dig-heavy deck. And it has the potential to just ruin anything in its path, but it also has the potential to get ruined by everything in its path. Like I said, if Ed just didn't misplay, he would have taken probably the set. But we both didn't play very crisply, and I did play a lot better of a list than what I did in our previous sets, and that was actually the first set that I beat him in. But overall, I do think Shadow Rider's a better deck, but I will have a more in-depth analysis on Ray coming very soon. I know I haven't uploaded in a while either. I've been very busy with a job. I've worked about 46 to 50 hours a week, every week for the past couple months. So, haven't really had time to stream or upload, but I will still leave a link to my stream, the twitch.tv/gumballgb in the description below. And I will be making more videos pretty soon. Hopefully I can get a collaboration in with somebody that I want to and have wanted to for a while. And we'll see how good Vmax is against a world champion. Maybe. Maybe not. Anyway, yeah, thank you for watching. And I normally don't say this, but subscribe, I guess. That would be cool. And see you all later.